Hello and welcome to today's episode. So today we'll be doing another Terraria build. This time it will be the NPC house for the pirate. We really are getting close to finishing off pretty much all of them at this point, and then we'll move on to other things like building just like general structures and random temples and stuff like that. But this one is going to be very much influenced by Pirates of the Caribbean, in particular Shipwreck Cove. So what Shipwreck Cove is well, it's it's in the name. So it's a cove that's sort of surrounded by shipwrecks that have been built up on top of each other to create this huge big fortress that the pirates use as their main base. And so yeah, this build is going to be very, very heavily influenced by that, but it will be on a much smaller scale because the one in the film is enormous, and I do not have 1,000 years to build that. So what I'm doing here is I'm just building up the actual cove itself, so the natural part that the shipwrecks will be built on top of. And in the film it's like surrounded by this huge big cliff face as well, but I think we're going to have it just be on its own, and it's going to be quite a lot smaller. So we're going to build it like we can have one side that's going to be slightly a little lower down. It's not going to be like uniform. It's going to be a little bit uneven because it's supposed to look rickety and falling apart and like it's been thrown together by a bunch of criminals and savages basically. So I'm just going to speed it up now. What I'm doing here is I'm just adding in the little details, the shipwreck details. So just basically bits of ships that are broken off, bits of boats. Just things that you might find in boats, like barrels and stuff like that. I'm just going to throw a bunch of these around and sort of pile them on top of each other. And so you can see here what I'm doing is I'm building a ship it's supposed to have broken in half and sort of sunk, or at least half sunk. Hammering in the shape of that now, and then I'll put some stuff. I might have rooms in there, and I might have to keep the water in there. I'm not sure yet. And as you can see, I've built a few more ship parts, stairs, some sails, barrels, just general stuff like that. And now I might just throw in a few details. And so this is going to be where the pirate's going to actually live. It's this little cabin on top of the entire structure. I was originally going to have him in the boat, but I think it might be quite difficult to make that a valid NPC house just because it's so uneven. And again, I'm just hammering in some more ships that make up the main part of the fortress. And so I thought it'd be pretty cool if I had an anchor hanging off a high part. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to pop in some chains on this little bit that's protruding from the top ship. And then I'm going to place a wall anchor there. So the thing is with wall anchors though is you do have to place them on walls. They can't be placed just in the sky. So an easy way to get around that if you want it to look like it's hanging is just to use some echo coating. So with echo coating you can just paint a wall invisible and then you can just plop the anchor on it, no worries, and it'll look like it's hanging in the air as opposed to stuck on something. So I'm just going to grab the anchor now, just going to paint the wall. I think I'll just use iron wall, I've got quite a lot of that. So I'm just going to pop it down here. And as you can see, well, as you can't see because it's covered in echo coating, you can't see it. So then when I place the anchor on top of it, if I can just find it, there we go. And voila, looks like it's attached to the chain. And so this is the third blood moon now, and there's also been 2 solar eclipses. So yeah, this video is probably going to be a little bit late. And so now you know how, like usually ships, well, like pirate ships would have those little holes in the side where the cannons protrude out of. So I'm going to try and create that effect here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint a bunch of item frames black so they look like they are holes in the ship. And I'm just going to place cannonballs in the item frame so it looks like the cannon is inside the ship and you can sort of see the cannonball in the cannon's mouth. It doesn't really work that well, but it works alright. Now I'm just going to add some detail onto this ship. It looks a little bit too plain at the moment. And now I'm just adding some details into the top ship here. Again, it looks a little bit too plain. And now I want to build like a really small boat, like a lifeboat. And what I'm going to use to do that is I'm actually going to use a mahogany bathtub. So I'm just going to lay down some blocks here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the bathtub on top of these blocks. Just going to paint it brown as well. So there we go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paint the blocks that it's on in echo coating to make them invisible. That way it'll look just like a tiny little ship, like a little lifeboat that's just sort of floating in the water, like so. And then I can even add like a little sail onto it if I wanted to. Let's just have a look at how it looks. So like a little... And then maybe just add some sails. Yeah, I think that looks alright. Looks like a little lifeboat. And I think on top we'll make this structure kind of like a lighthouse. So we'll stick a fire there. And that way, like, pirate ships should be able to see it from far away. At least that's the idea. And now I'm just going to pop in this safe. So obviously these are pirates. I've added some gold in the top ship as well. And I imagine they'll, have a lot of valuables that they have stolen. So they'll have safes and chests and stuff. So I've tried to incorporate as much of that in as possible. I've also added a sail onto the right as well with like a little pirate skull symbol. Which is actually the pumpkin thing, the pumpkin, what they call trophies, the trophy you get from the pumpkin. I did try a few different trophies, but that one definitely looked the most piratey. And now I'm just gonna go around and add in like a few little details, just some cobwebs and things like that, just as the finishing touches. You can see on the right side, hanging off the ship, we have like a torture cage with a skeleton in it. Again, in the first, I think it's the first Pirates of the Caribbean film, there is I think Jack Sparrow sails past a cliff and there's these pirates that are being hung and they've got like this sign on them. So I thought that was definitely something that would fit in a pirate themed place. Sort of hanging corpses or, just... I think it's the second film as well, actually, where he's in some torture place and he's floating and he's in like a barrel or a coffin with a dead man. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure there was something like that. So yeah, I'm just sticking these cobwebs just in places where cobwebs would probably be. And this is it, we're pretty much finished. So I've continued the stone like a little bit further down so it looks like it goes all the way to the ocean floor. I've added in the cobwebs now. And yeah, we're pretty much done. I will clear those chests up on the right a little bit later on, but I'll give you a quick tour first. So yeah, this is what we've come up with. Pretty much as described. It's a cove that's been that's been slowly built up over several years with shipwrecks and like little buildings and just piecemeal bits of engineering to create this fortress that a group of pirates led by our NPC pirate use as a base when they're not on the open seas. So it's got all the piratey stuff you'd expect here, the anchor, the sails. It's got like bits of cages and stuff that could be maybe like traps, because you know they've got to eat, right? So there's like a lot of there's like rum, I suppose, or beer, just cups, barrels, things like that. A lot of different ocean themed things. We have the pirate flag at the top as well, on top of the shack. So I've used a skull for that in an item frame that's been painted with echo coating. But yeah, if you did enjoy the build today, please consider liking, subscribing, all that sort of stuff. And apart from that, thank you very much and have a wonderful day.